Hi, I'm Laurie Anderson. I had the opportunity to, and the privilege to work with Bill Alexander for many years before he passed. And I have been thinking about things that he taught me so many years ago, almost 40 years ago. Something he taught me that makes it clear why it's important to have thick paint for Bill's technique. I hope you enjoy this presentation. We're going to start off with white cake mix and the chocolate cake mix. I have chocolate milk and white milk. Let's pretend this is white thin paint. And we're going to pour it in this jar. I'm going to pour about that much in. And this also represents thin paint, and this is chocolate milk. So watch what happens when the chocolate milk hits the white milk. It becomes a light chocolate milk. If you are painting on a canvas and you find that you've got a thin paint and there's thin paint on the canvas and you touch your brush into it and the paint just bleeds into the paint that's on the canvas, this is what's happening. Now let me show you what happens if we use thick paint. So I'm going to start with this chocolate cake batter. And I'm going to put some of this down here in this bowl, and I'll hold it up so you can see it. I'm going to take some white cake mix. Remember, this represents thick paint. And I'm going to put this in here. Do you see how the white cake mix is just sitting on the chocolate cake batter? That's what happens when you lay thick paint on top of thick paint. Now I'm going to show you something else. You hear Bill talk about marbling. What he's referring to is mixing so you get different colors. Do you see how it's not blending together like the chocolate milk and the white milk? You see how it just marbles together like that? He doesn't overmix his paint to one solid color because he wants all these different colors to come through. If we continued to mix this, we could mix it to one color. Bill says don't do that. You saw how it's stacked on top and then now it marbles together. When you think about your paint that you're applying to your canvas, that's when I want you to think about this. If it bleeds together, it means that you're putting thin paint on thin paint. If you are using thick paint on thick paint, it will stack as long as you go lightly over that and you don't press too hard. If you put thin paint on thick paint, maybe I should put a little milk in here and see what happens. This is the thick paint. I'm going to put some of this milk that we mixed together on top of here. That's the idea of the highlights going on the thick paint. So if I put this on there, can you see that? How it just sits on top? It doesn't go down into the thick paint at all. It just sits right on top. So that's the idea of highlights being thinner going onto a thick paint. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like to know about. There's many more things that I learned from him, spending so much time with him. And happy to share. So just let me know if there's anything you would like to learn more about. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.